next, we've got the much anticipated Sports Pulse. Eddie's here. Eddie, what's grabbing your attention?
Well, you know what? I'm suffering from post Stanley Cup, the depression syndrome. So hockey is over. Stanley Cup's been banged up and broken, but they've actually fixed it before the parade. So congratulations to the NHL and the Florida Panthers. What's caught my attention lately? Well, you know what? Before I get on to the CFL, just a little bit about the National Basketball Association, the recent championship. You know, I love watching sports, any sort of sports organization, and their championship run in the finals go 7 games, which it did between the Oklahoma City Thunder and the Indianapolis Pacers. Oklahoma City Thunder won it in 7 games. And they won the last game in great fashion. I mean, after the first half, it was 48 for Indiana, and Oklahoma City was 48 to 47 after the first half. And then the Oklahoma City Thunder just opened it up. They scored 34 points over Indiana's 20, and they won 103 to 91. So congratulations to the Oklahoma City Thunder. And I'm not a basketball fan per se, but what's of interest to me to bring up in the show, Gary, is we actually had 3 Canadians in this final. I mean, basketball is all Americana, but it's really great to see Canadians do extremely well. 2 of them played for the Oklahoma City, and the other one played for the Pacers. So we have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, a native from Hamilton, MVP of the NBA basketball finals. What an accomplishment. This kid scored over 30 points in 5 of the games. Very, very critical. So what a contribution. MVP of the NBA finals, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, a Hamilton native. And then we also had Luguentz Dort from Montreal, who also plays for the Thunder. I believe is a Montreal North boy. So congratulations to him. And then runner-up Benedict Mathurin, who played for the Pacers. He's also a Montreal boy, and I believe he's also from Montreal North. And he played in Park Extension for the Sun Youth Sunners, believe it or not. So great for Canadian sports, and you know what? A lot of our kids can look up to these great young Canadian men. In terms of anything is possible. You can play in the NBA if you work hard at it. So really, really good story to have 3 Canadians in that, and a Canadian in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander winning the MVP for the finals. Now for the CFL. Yes, believe it or not, I'm one of the few who prefers the Canadian Football League game to the NFL game. No question about it. It's always fast-paced and fast-moving. And this year, my Montreal Alouettes, yes, I have my Montreal Alouettes, Gary. They're off to a 3-0 start. So we're looking at Danny Machocha's rebuild. He took over the reins, I think, 5 years ago, where we were an absolute disaster. I was a 17-year Montreal Alouette season ticket holder. And after Anthony Calvillo got hurt, I got tired of the Montreal Alouettes being down 35-0 by halftime, and I have to leave because it was just too boring. So, I got rid of those tickets, haven't renewed them. And you know what? The last 4 years, Alouettes have been extremely competitive. They won the Grey Cup 2 seasons ago. Last season, they lost to the dastardly Toronto Argonauts in a game filled with penalties to the Montreal Alouettes, and we lost that game. And Toronto went on to win the Grey Cup last year. But the Montreal Alouettes this year are 3-0 in their start, and they're very quickly becoming the old beasts of the East. They're 3-0. Ottawa's won 1 game out of 3, and Hamilton, Toronto have had 1 zippo. So looks like hopefully their heads don't get too fat, and they lose in the games that actually mean a movement forward to the Grey Cup. So long season left, good start 3-0, and David Alexander, who's the starting quarterback, he was the backup quarterback last year, is doing extremely well. Along with Marc-Andre Ducoy, who's one of the most popular players on the Alouettes team, being a local Quebecer. And we also have Sean Thomas Erlington, who's the featured running back this year. And Sean Thomas Erlington actually was playing on the same team with Alex at my stepson Alex in university for the University of Montreal Carabin. So good for
Oh,
him to get, good for the Alouettes to get some local boys here, and they're doing extremely well. And out west we have Saskatchewan that's up 3 games. They've won 3 games and lost none. And they have old Trevor Harris, the quarterback who led us to the Grey Cup 2 seasons ago in Montreal, playing for them, so he's doing well. And then we have, well, let's see, British Columbia Lions. They're 1-2, and the reason I bring up British Columbia Lions because they're Joe F's beloved British Columbia Lions. So Joe, I really hope out in Vancouver they'll pick up the pace and maybe get you to renew your season tickets as well. So far on top of the heap, Gary, we have the Montreal Alouettes in 3-0, and the Saskatchewan Roughriders at 3-0, and should be a very interesting season. I'm looking forward to it.
I'll just throw this out quickly, and maybe it's something we can discuss at a later date. But what do you think of an expansion team in Atlantic Canada?
The Nova Scotia Schooners. You know what? I am so behind that because you know what? Now's a good time to do it. Just carrying on in terms of further developing a national identity. I mean, we've talked about it through the stuff that's going through the United States and threats of annexation. It's just created a higher sense of Canadian identity and nationalism. We talked about Air Canada and maybe for them to drop their prices for Canadians to be able to visit each other more often, coast to coast, to further strengthen our national identity. And you know what, Gary? A football team out in the Maritimes would do that as well. Because, especially in the smaller centers in Canada, attendance to the football games is very, very heavy. Everyone goes to watch the football games. And I think having the Halifax Schooners actually play, and I think as a matter of fact, they're negotiating space to actually build a multi-purpose stadium. It's one of those situations where if you build it, they will come. And I think the government the governments out in Western Canada are looking at funding, helping to fund a stadium that would be considered multi-purpose. We have the Canadian Soccer League; they play out there, so yeah, it makes perfect sense. They build that stadium. I'm sure they're going to get a Canadian Football League team out there, and it would be great. Um, People can identify with it out from Nova Scotia. Looking New Brunswick, we're looking PEI, we're looking in Newfoundland. Guaranteed they're going to get a huge fan base, and we're probably going to become their biggest rivalries here in Montreal, Gary. So we'll have to fly out there and fight with people there.
Well,
Watch a football
Halifax,
game
Halifax
while
is
while
the
we're holding a Moosehead beer in our hands.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Halifax is the population center for a team. Moncton would argue, well, we were pegged the fastest growing city in Canada last year, and
Hmm.
that city has taken off big time. But still, and you know what? They are in a good spot in the fact that they could draw from PEI no problem. It's a hop, skip, and jump, especially with the bridge. New
Hmm.
Brunswick and parts of Nova Scotia, and it's only about a 3.5 hour drive now from Halifax to Moncton, if that. So Moncton could make an argument, but Halifax really, for the population base,
Hmm.
is the spot where it should go, and it's very easy to travel to Halifax from elsewhere as well. As far as going by car, flying, well, that's a whole other.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
a whole other show again.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
it would be great if
And
they got a team.
train service. If you live on the eastern side of New Brunswick, okay, you get a train through a couple of times a week, passenger train. PEI has no trains at all, and the rest of Nova Scotia doesn't have train service, and the rest of New Brunswick no passenger train service. So that's you're either going to drive yourself, or they do, like the bus deals that include a night or 2 nights in Halifax. So I,
Yeah.
I know that a lot of the exhibition games that they've played in Moncton and Halifax, and way back when in St. John,
Yeah.
they had great crowds coming out
They they
for the
pretty much
games.
sold out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Even
So
their university games out there, the Acadia Axemen.
yeah,
You have the St. Mary's Huskies. I mean, football in Eastern Canada is extremely popular, and usually those games are sold out in their stadiums. So the interest is genuinely there. So,
yeah,
that was a great question. Should we get a CFL team in Halifax? I'm as passionate about them getting a team as the Quebec Nordiques and the National Hockey League getting a return there of that franchise. So, yeah, absolutely. I'm all for it.